morning, afternoon, night. This is We Are Not Prepared, and we are your hosts, Byron
and Mark Ivy.
Welcome to We
Are
Not
Prepared.
Holy cow, Mark. It's been so long. I have missed you more than when I used to have sex.
I thought it was say your ex-wife.
No.
Number 2.
I don't miss that. I do miss sex.
I missed you so much, man.
Sex was great when I used to have it, but I've aged out. I didn't know that you age out.
People age out. Are you sure about that?
Well, not in your mind. It's like, you ever, like, as you get older, think you could still play a sport in your mind? Actually. But then when your body doesn't work, of course yours still works, but mine doesn't work like it used to.
Byron, I played last year. I ran out March. I ran out to play that beat baseball scrimmage. It was like I was playing baseball back in my teenage days, and immediately shattered my shoulder and tore my labrum. So yes, I understand.
So it's good to see you. How are you?
You really brought that point home. I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah, let's get out of that one. I'm good. It was good to see you. It was good to hear you. It was good to be in this room with you.
How's the world of the blind?
We're still tapping around, making noise. Doing good. As time goes on every day, it becomes a little better for a blind person, in my opinion. Whether that means technology, whether that means just,
You're kind of like the Martin Luther King for blind people.
They say that a lot.
To you?
It's just coming from a black man now. Now I can accept that and say it out loud that maybe they're right. Maybe they're right.
It was great doing the going to the movie Join or Die with you, which for those that are listening, that movie was about how important it is for us to belong and to be a part of something for us to function as a society. And as Mark so aptly put, he said that take how we're decreasing in the amount of people participating and civic, religious, and other activities. He says, multiply that when it's somebody with a disability like blindness.
Yeah, and again, I speak on behalf of blind folks because that's what I deal with. But yeah, it is across the board with disabilities. I didn't know what to, and I will tell anyone that I'll tell all of our 3 listeners if you look that up, because I IMDb'd it. I just wanted to see how long it was. And I saw it was like an hour 30. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I looked down to see who's in it. And I see like the first 2 on the credits are Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Hillary Clinton. I was like, what am I going to? It has nothing to do with politics. It is such a great, I spoke at the Lions Club yesterday, and I love the Lions. I'm sure I've been to multiple. I've been to 3. I get the same feeling inside those clubs, but I leave always kind of sad because they're so old.
And their numbers are less.
Oh, yeah. But what they're doing is, all they're doing is they get together and they're like, how can we help people? And that's literally like what they're doing. And it's a club and it's beautiful and it's going to go away.
It's so interesting because I'm in Rotary, and so I looked up how Rotary started. And so this lawyer moved to Chicago, and he didn't know anyone, and he decided to start a program where guys could get together, have discussion, and create friendships. And so then they started like doing things to help the community. But the number one thing was he wanted to create friendships for himself and his friends. And
what year was this?
1906 or something. And that's
when did when did the first female Rotarian get in the mix?
Probably last week. So
right. I take one drink and
they probably just. I remember that we do have a woman president now, but that hasn't been. I bet maybe 30 years.
Yeah. The Midtown Rotary, where I go as a guest every now and again, the last 3 presidents with them have been women. They're just those, individual clubs.
There are so few black people in my Rotary Club. I mean, I want to yell out, "Hello, other black person over there on the other side of the room." Hello.
That's what about the Sunshine one? There was another black guy there, right?
At Sunrise,
Felix. The teacher.
Yeah, Felix was there.
I remember Felix on the way out of when I spoke to that Rotary. He stopped by the front desk and he's like, "How many do y'all have extra pencils?" And like they gave him, because he's always collecting like supplies wherever he goes. I was like, dude, that's awesome.
First, yeah. But see, there were 2 blacks in one Rotary, and our group disbanded.
I have you want to hear a quick funny black joke that's not mine?
Yeah.
That has to kind of do with, so there's the comedian is Shane Gillis, and he's talking about this documentary of Bear Bryant, the notorious Alabama football coach. And they're lifting him up for accepting black players on the Alabama team, and he's like, "Well, that's awesome." He was like, "Yeah, that's good for him." And then you realize it's 1971. We had sent someone to the moon before Alabama let a black player on the team. And he goes, and the only reason is because USC was way ahead of the game. And already, were accepting, black players on their teams, and they came down and beat the crap out of Alabama. So Bear Bryant was like, "We need black players," and then they started winning, and all the racist people in Alabama were like, "Oh, roll Tide!" So the joke is, if you want to beat racism, be good at sports, and then
erase it for a little bit. Yeah. That is actually the way this Sooners got famous. Is because Switzer was the first coach that really openly recruited black players. And he was the first one that would allow a black quarterback.
Yeah, that was a thing, my Paw, great man, but what old white people have their little things. He would always say that, "Well, you don't see a black quarterback." And then I would always start... Well, there's Michael Vick and I would start naming all the ones that are like, well, trying to move on to something else.
And that's how this morning you were saying, I want to go to this just because you said what did you say? Down? Was that the word you used?
I said I was in LaLa Land.
LaLa Land. So what does LaLa Land look like for you?
Well, it doesn't look like your LaLa Land, which I want to follow up with. LaLa Land looks like it looks like, in this case, there's stuff coming up that really not much more can be done about, but you've put a lot of energy into it. And then there's the other stuff on the side that, of course, you got to do, but you're just in LaLa Land because you're like, I don't care. We all just care about this thing coming up next week. So I'm just in LaLa Land.
It could be that you're tired too.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I've learned to...
Do I look tired?
Well, no, no. You just say you're in LaLa Land. You said you have just done a whole bunch of stuff and you got something coming up, but you're just not one to do it at the second.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just...
I'm like that.
You could talk to me at 1 o'clock. You could come upstairs and you'd be like, "You don't look like you're in LaLa Land anymore." I'd be like, "Yeah, I know. I snapped out of that like 3 hours ago."
I'm in LaLa Land every morning. I get up.
Yeah. How long does it take you to snap to?
Well, I have guys call me up. Usually I have guys, especially guys I sponsor in recovery.
Okay, good. I was like, okay.
And probably have guys call me up for, hey, have guys call me up in recovery. And so probably about after the second one, I'm pretty zoned in because.
You ever ignore the call? Are you ever just like, oh, not now?
There's a couple.
Oh, yeah?
That I will, yeah. Sometimes they'll call two or three times and they will have nothing happening. They'll be sitting in their house and going, my life is useless. I don't know what to do. I go, what are you doing? I'm sitting playing video games. I go, okay, I'm in the middle of work. You're not married.
Yeah, you're trying to
have a job.
Set a new lap record on Koopa Troop Island.
So
all you Mario Kart fans out there.
I don't answer those. So anyway, but I mean, so I really
remind me not to be your sponsor. All right, keep going.
I said, how many did I say? I said I have a couple.
Yeah.
That I sponsor that are kind of I will sometimes not take their calls. There's others I sponsor that.
My older brother would avoid his sponsor, even if he was doing the right thing. A lot of times. I feel like I'd be that way.
It's been helpful for me.
Yeah.
I've done it the other way. I got a sponsor once, and the only time I talked to him is when I asked him would he be my sponsor. And then I never talked to him again. He could be dead now.
That reminds me when I did that Big Brother program. I haven't seen that kid. No, I'm just kidding.
I haven't seen that kid. I signed up and I haven't seen him since. So, yeah. So I'm just curious, just because I think a lot of us in society right now really go through these moments where it's just like we're just pooped. And it's hard to focus and hard to have energy. And we just keep pushing ourselves. But I don't think that's the right thing that we should do.
Man, I had a conversation with a coworker the other day on the ride up from Tulsa about that. That's not what the world is not about. Burning out at work and seeing your coworkers more than I'm seeing my 4-year-old daughter. Yeah. And seeing my wife, and not just seeing them, having the energy to enjoy them and them enjoy you, because they need, family. Everyone needs each other in the family, and when you have the time to give it, that's when. I mean, if I just go back and look at just high points of the last 4 years, it's like COVID. I know that sounds crazy. That was a high point a lot of high points with me, my daughter, and my wife.
Because you got to spend time together.
Yeah. And I don't know if we're having this conversation if COVID didn't happen, because I do think that allowed folks to kind of understand it. But it is. It's like, what are we doing? Yeah,
I think we're killing.
What are we doing?
I think we're killing ourselves, and we cannot continue this. And so I will.
It's not that important. Even blind. I love supporting the blind, but come on. At some point, we got to be like, well, they've had enough support. Let's go support ourselves for a little bit.
I have to take care of myself, and so I think your LaLa Land is a very important place for you, because I think you need to pay attention to it. And so, because your body is telling you, I need to breathe and I need to stop. And so I just think you should pay attention to it. That's just my opinion as my fellow broadcaster. I mean, I do. I pay attention to when my body says.
Can I be vulnerable for a second?
Yeah.
When's the last time you cried?
Probably about a week ago.
So I remember last time I cried because it was Saturday morning, and dude, I wept, and it wouldn't stop.
It was a snot slinging wept.
But then it was, I've had more. I come from a long line of swingers. I come from a long line of sweep it under the ruggers. And it'll reach a boiling point, and then I can cry. And it usually relates around my eyes. So like Saturday morning, so my daughter has a birthday party to go to. We're all going to it, but my wife has to go set up first because it's her friend, so she's helping decorate. So she leaves at like 9. I needed to go to somewhere before that I didn't really plan out, and so now I can't. I got to go here, and then I got to come back and get you and Evelyn, and then we got to go back to the same place I just went, and then she leaves and I lose it. I was just like, I'm mad that I can't go and do what I want to do. So I won't lie, selfish first, but immediately too, then I get real angry at, well, my wife shouldn't even have to come back home to then get Evelyn and get me and get, and my daughter's never seen me cry. And I couldn't keep it together in front of her. And I quote, she comes up and she goes, "Well, Dad, what's wrong?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, Evelyn." And now I'm like hating myself. I'm like, oh, she doesn't need to see me like this. And I said, sometimes, Dad, I just get sad because, I can't see. And she passed me on the back and goes, "It's okay, Dad. We can do lots of fun stuff." She goes, "We can still do lots of fun stuff." And I was like, oh, man. Woo.
I think it's good that she saw you cry because that gives her permission to cry. So what if she has a day that's really hard? So she goes, my dad cries, so I can do that.
If I find out she's telling her friends at school that I cried, I'll show up. I'll show up.
And here they come. No, I think that's pretty cool stuff there.
A 4-year-old, though, like I didn't tell her that I wish me and you could just go to the water park or whenever we want, or go leave me and you. I didn't tell her any of that stuff, or that, I wish I could play catch, or I wish, she just said, it's like her little brain knew that maybe we're not doing this, but we can still do lots of fun stuff.
We could do stuff.
It's like, dadgum.
But I understand that frustration with you. Just think about the powerlessness of that, of you not being able to just jump up and go run a small errand to what would be small to us, but for you, you have to get a ride to do it. And
yeah, and yeah. And my wife, she came home too, and that's why I said it couldn't stop, because when you think you're done being sad, and then you just see someone you love, and you just want to be like, just don't say anything, just hug me.
Yeah.
But it just it
makes me want to hug you.
Yeah, and then then I called my dad, and he's like, "Boy, what did I tell you about crying?" No, I'm just kidding. So. Well,
my mom was actually like that. My dad would probably cry. Of course, he would be drunk, but he would cry. But my mom, she would not cry. She would say, "You little wimp, suck it up." Yeah,
that's my wife's parents' dynamic, and mine's the opposite. I saw my dad cry at his dad's funeral, but that's it. I've shared with you that he's going through it right now with losing his vision. He's going through what I went through when I was like 22, early 20s. He stopped driving last December, and you wake up in LaLa Land, he wakes up angry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, it's like, get out of the way for an hour, for real. And I don't know. Yeah. I hope when he starts addressing and accepting the blindness that, for me, it did. Those things organically work themselves out, because you're all this, now you're tackling probably the source of where this stuff's coming from.
I was thinking I was going to go talk to Lauren, who's the executive director.
LB.
We'll give her a shout out. But on the next session of the Nothing sessions, to actually have people talk about some of the trials and tribulations of being blind that they struggle with emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. I've had, we can talk about this off air too. I'd love to get folks in the studio and have a mini series of, just sharing a story, because it helps man, it helps me hearing other stories for what people. I mean, I love it when it's someone with retinitis pigmentosa, and I just get to hear this echo of like, yes, he gets it, But then I really enjoy hearing, blindness of the spectrum, and then you hear someone who can't see anything, and it's a whole nother story, and a whole nother, it's wild.
How
cool would that be, though?
I think it'd be great just doing the nothing sessions. I mean, I remember a lady that was in there, and she just recently started going blind, and she has like a master's degree, and so she would go to apply for jobs, and they would say, well, we hire the disabled. Well, they would give her like this menial job, but she has like this, she's worked in business.
Could you imagine?
And they're going, and she goes, they really, if I go and like put like rubber bands in a box, they hire the disabled. But in terms of like sitting at the table and making decisions and.
And that's where corporations have not, they are getting better at, focusing on the whole DEI, diversifying workforces and stuff. But if they just understood like how easy it is, like this person doesn't have an issue doing the work. Like you said, she's got her master's. Like this is what she does.
Yeah.
And she earned the right to go do it.
Yeah.
And then she's going to do it the same way you do it, except the font might be larger. The color scheme might be different. Yes. And here's the $200 piece of equipment that can now make all this happen. And now blindness isn't even a part of the discussion.
Yeah.
So that's got to be, for me, I'm a master of nothing. So I'm just like, I'm thrilled where I feel like I'm just lucky where I am, but I could not imagine, having something and then people not giving you an opportunity or thinking or trusting that it's like, no, I sat in that same classroom as the person you just hired. You know what I mean?
You are, I give you a lot of poo-poo, but I will tell you that as I meet blind people in the world, you are the introduction to blindness I want people to meet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of us I got, my younger brother, our beat baseball team. Like that's another thing. I love when me and my blind buddies are out there doing things, because it's just like, oh, well, that's what blindness looks like.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. I mean,
but you are a great ambassador.
Thank you
for blindness. The police are coming.
Martin Luther King.
We should get off because the police are coming. So, do you hear them?
Yeah. What time is it?
I have no idea.
Are you going to give me 60? What do you have to do? Remember, we just got done talking about how work is driving us. Why can't we sit here and talk? Don't make me go back up there.
You don't have to go back up there. We just have to end this.
Why? What do you have? You haven't answered the question. You don't even know what you have.
What if I have to go to the bathroom?
Then we'll pause it.
Okay. I really need to go because I'm trying to get another car. And my wife...
You're going to buy a car.
Okay, hold on a minute. And my wife locked her car keys.
Okay, you're making... Now you're just making stuff
this
up.
Is true.
So you have to go buy a car or get a car?
I was going to look at buying a car, but then my wife called and said she locked the keys in the car.
So instead of calling a locksmith to get the keys out, you're just going to call that car gone and just go buy a new one and be like, here you go. Here's the solution. Here's the solution to you locking your keys in the car.
Two separate things. There were two
separate things. What are they paying
things.
You here?
Not enough.
Well, you're doing the Nothing podcast, and we are not prepared. I love how lazy our titles are, but then you talk about it. You know what I mean?
We are not.
So, what time do you have to pick your wife up? Because I still think you're making stuff up.
It doesn't. Can I just go? I feel like I'm being held.
All right. Can we talk about your LaLa Land though next time?
My LaLa, is that up in Chicago?
I know we are not prepared, but cliffhanger. How old are you? You're 71.
71, yes.
You're 71, and you went to Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
And got stuck in a crowd during the Kendrick Lamar show.
I did.
A sea of white people.
A sea of white people. Screaming out lyrics.
Any of them yelling the one word?
They did not do the N word.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing. The first time I saw him, they did.
The whites did?
Yes.
The honkies were saying it?
At the first concert, but not this last time. And so I was right there. They would just go blank.
Okay, let's end on this one. So when they do that, and it's a part of a song that the black rapper or singer is yelling, and then a white audience member is alongside in unison yelling that word with them, how does that make you feel as a black guy?
Fine.
Yeah?
Yes. I am much more, the definition of racism is prejudice plus power. So I am much more concerned with, at the top of the food chain, who's making decisions about like our communities. So you could call me any name in the world if you just would let me at the table.
Yeah. See, that's the high level stuff this podcast is missing when you're gone. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back.
We're back. We're back.
And we're not going anywhere.
We're like Eminem.
You're Dr. Dre. I'm Eminem.
I'm Dr. Dre.
Hi, my name is Mark Ivy.
Byron Jackson, and this has been
We
Are
Not
Prepared.
Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.